Brooks drilled to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win.
And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he home runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Episode 50 of The Burrows. Kevin Bunk, Michael Merlo coming to you every week live on BTO Media, YouTube, and Instagram, and everywhere else. You can find it on audio platforms after, and we're a little bit overdue. A lot to unpack today. The Subway Series happened. Mike went to Fenway. We'll get his firsthand perspective on the baseball's greatest park. He went to baseball's two greatest parks this week, Yankee Stadium and Fenway, and watched the Mets lose at both. And now we'll get his thoughts on it. We're going to talk everything that has to do with Soto from the last week, and then everything that has to do with the Mets and their two losses to the Red Sox. They end up winning the game last night. Yankees, big walk-off win last night. They've won 4 of their last 5 against the Mets, and now the Rangers. They finish it up today at 12:35. I don't know if that game's even going to get played, but Mike, we start with the Mets, and we start with you and your trip to Fenway. How was it? Talk us through going to Fenway Park. I went there once 13 years ago, so I don't really remember the experience too well. Wasn't old enough to really appreciate it. Give us all the details about the terrible trip to Fenway.
Yeah, it's never a terrible trip to Fenway, no matter what your team does. It's just awesome to be there. The city's great. I love the city of Boston. It's clean, it's different, it's old but historical. It's a great place, and Fenway is like a museum. The one thing I really can't get over is the fact that that's what people call home, like every home game. You know, like for me, that's tough to kind of comprehend because it's just so cool and so special. And it was a great time. They scored 1 run in 18 innings, but it was still a really good time.
You know, we have good stadiums with Yankee Stadium and Citi Field, but I don't think they're like quite compare. It's just like a totally different thing. I think only Wrigley and Fenway can, and maybe the Dodgers fans can say, but I haven't heard great things about Dodger Stadium holding up the way that Fenway and Wrigley have. But yeah, I think that's a good point by you. While having good stadiums here, it's just a totally different world. With this whole Soto thing, we saw your video on Instagram and TikTok late to warmups. I don't know where you want to start with Soto today. So I do want to try and focus majority of the show on the actual games and teams because the Soto thing is maybe a little overblown, I think, but we'll go through it. This was not a good week for Juan Soto. Easily his worst week as a Met, not only on the field, but off the field. And I don't know if it'll ever be worse than it was just this past 6-7 days, because this could be a peak in the whole 15-year career for how bad it is for Soto. So, you know, where do you want to start with this? What do you feel about this now that it's Thursday? We're a few days past the Subway Series.
You know, he's never looked like he was super happy all season long. I mean, as much as fans wanted to try and, you know, say, oh, it's early and this and that, and I was one of those guys, and you know, basically just brushing it off. At this point, you see him go back to Yankee Stadium. You see him stink it up there. You see him stink it up in Boston. And it's like, he looks miserable. He does look miserable. Now, I don't believe any of these stories that came out, especially from Michael K. About him wanting to be a Yankee, but his family chose the Mets and this and that. Bob, what was it, Clappish of NJ.com, you sent me the article. And while I trust his reporting, I don't necessarily trust his reporting on the Mets. I don't think the Mets would ever leak something like that out. They haven't leaked anything like that out in years now. They're not that organization anymore. So I don't know how much I believe that. But Kevin, I mean, he does look miserable. He does not look the same that he did last season. And I know they're two completely different situations, but it's difficult to not sit here and tell you that he doesn't look miserable. He does.
He looks absolutely, I mean, this is not even in the way he approaches his at-bats. I know it was kind of a joke, like, oh, Soto wouldn't have swung at that with the Yankees. He never swung. Like, that was a joke the first couple of weeks, but you watch his at-bats, you watch his demeanor. This is not the same player in any fashion that the Yankees had. And I think he gets back to being some, you know, resemblance of that, showing us some sort of similarity this season. I don't think this even lasts all year where he's miserable, but this could be a Beltran year one where you're just kind of disappointed and you'll never really look too fondly back at the first year. But what's weird is this is not guy looks miserable. I don't think the Mets are going to have him after this year. This is guy looks miserable. He's here for 15 years. They're not moving him, and no one's taking the contract.
No, if we're going to go down that road, which I cannot believe we're going down, but yeah, it's almost an impossible contract to move.
And that's why it's just like a weird conversation to say he hates being there. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to be with the Yankees. That's just a pointless and boring conversation to me at this point, because we all know he is playing there until he's 40. He's 26. This is not changing. And he's going to have to change it himself.
He could have chose the Yankees. I mean, that's the one thing that, I can't wrap my head around in terms of this whole discussion. I understand taking the most money, and the Mets offered the most money, and the potential of the total value of the contract was, a little higher, but he could have been a Yankee, for not giving up that much money. He could have been if he wanted to be, and he's not. So, and I'm not trying to say that to rub it in as a dig to Yankee fans. I'm saying that to him. Like, if you didn't think 100% that this was going to be the right choice, then you should have chose the freaking Yankees. Who the hell wants to deal with this? And I can't believe I'm here at this point. I can't believe I'm saying this. But that's where I'm at, because him moping around the field for 9 innings and running out late to warm up every single inning. I mean, everything that this guy does right now as a diehard Mets fan pisses me off. It really does. Everything.
And I think it should. I don't think we can sit here and beat around the bush anymore and do exactly what you said at the beginning of the show and say, oh, he's just getting adjusted. He's getting comfortable, because you get that money and you're this profile of a player. You should be able to at least fake it till you actually make it, and fake it until you're happy. Because right now he's not, and it's evident. And I don't know if it's because of his play, if it's because of something with the team, if it's because he really misses being with the Yankees. I think the Yankee Stadium crowd really got to him this weekend. He played it off before the game Friday, like just another game with, I think it was David Cohen said that, but he really was shook, I think, by the Yankee Stadium crowd this weekend, because I think he anticipated a little bit more of a positive reception than he got, even though he said he knew it was going to be boos. I think deep down, he had such a good experience with the Yankees last year that he thought it was going to be somewhat fun and positive with the boos, but it was very negative. The Yankee fans hate him, and that's what happened at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I've never been a part of a crowd like that in my life.
Yeah, you were there Friday.
I mean, I've been at playoff games. I've been at different road games. I've been at division rival games in each sport. And I've never, ever been to a game like that. I mean, those boos were something I've never heard before. They were long. They were loud. It was incredible. Incredible. I mean, instant goosebumps. And if that got to him, then he's not the kind of player that I thought he was, not the kind of guy I thought he was. Because to me, that's supposed to wake him up. That weekend right there of being the most hated player in the entire building, I thought that would wake somebody like him up, and it didn't. And he failed. He failed a big test this weekend, a huge test this weekend, because myself and a lot of Met fans thought that this was going to be the weekend that really got him going, and it did the complete opposite.
I think, too, back to your point about him signing the contract, I think what happened with Soto, and this is not a dig at the Mets, I completely agree with you, too, about he could have picked the Yankees and he didn't, and that is what it is. That's the reality. I think he has been on, before this, 3 teams in 4 years, and or 3 teams in 3 years, technically, because he was on the Padres for only a year and a half. That first year he was with the Nationals also. So 3 teams in 3 years, and he had said within himself and with Boris and with his family, I'm taking the most money, and that's going to be what I do. And if it's with the Mets, I'm excited about that because it's a good situation. The Mets were a good situation, were a great situation, are a great situation, offering you the most money. It's not crazy to pick little brother in this offseason over the Yankees. Mets were great last year, And he figures to be the missing piece in a team that was 2 wins away from the World Series. He figures to be that missing piece. And right now he doesn't look like he is, but I think he did that and maybe undersold just how perfect being a Yankee was for him because of the spotlight, because of the celebration every night for him, because of hitting in front of Aaron Judge, that right field. Everything was perfect for him as a Yankee. Again, I think this blows over and we don't talk about I think when October comes around, this is not even a thought in our minds, is what Soto's behavior was in the beginning of the season. Is Soto happy? I don't even think it's a thought when the Mets are in the playoffs in October. But it is a reality right now, and I think maybe he undersold how much he enjoyed being a Yankee because he became such a mercenary for 2 or 3 years, getting moved around the San Diego era, both being brought in and being sent out. I think he undersold how much he enjoyed being a Yankee and the difficulty to go somewhere else and get acclimated quickly.
Well, I absolutely don't think I absolutely believe that has hurt him in some way, shape, or form. You're with Washington and you come up and you're this young phenom and you think you're going to spend the rest of your career here because why the hell would they get rid of you? And they trade you because they can't afford you. And then you go to San Diego and you start off slow and it's a lot of bad tension in the locker room. And then, but you still have a good season. When you get there, you go on a deep run in the postseason. And then 23 is a mess, but you're really good. And the owner dies while you're negotiating an extension with him because you do want to stay there despite what everybody thinks. And then you're traded to the Yankees and you would have been happy with the Yankees for the rest of your career. You negotiated with the Yankees for the rest of your career. You essentially had everybody in your camp believing that you were going to pick the Yankees, and then you stun everybody and go to the Mets. This changing and this bouncing around is not easy on somebody like this. I do agree. I think he values loyalty, and I think he respects the people at the top and wants a good relationship with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that even last year, and we spoke about it on this show before he signed with the Mets, I believe, I think if it was up to Soto to have his entire career do-over, not that he would necessarily do it over, but if he could choose the perfect career for himself, he would have been a national for his entire career. I think he wanted to be in Washington, but the money mattered to him. We can't act like it didn't. And he didn't get the contract he wanted. He got a lot of deferrals, and he decided, and the Washington Nationals decided, it wasn't in both parties' best interest for him to stay there and sign somewhere else this offseason anyways, because that's what would have happened if he stayed in Washington. So a team that he loved, he won a World Series with, the team that developed him, is somewhere he would have liked to stay. He didn't. I agree with you. It definitely hurt him. Now, enough on that free agency stuff and actually coming to the Mets. What'd you think of the Mendoza-Soto back and forth about the hustle plays, and what do you actually think personally the hustle plays in the Red Sox game 1 and the Yankees game?
The Yankee game pissed me off. I mean, the Yankee game to no end really pissed me off. And that's when something should have been said. The Red Sox thing, listen, I was there. I thought he got it. I thought it was gone. And he thought it was gone. And it's a bad look after the night before when you're not running something out where you're staring at it, but I really did think he had it. And then you know what happens when it hits the wall there and it takes a good bounce. You're done at second. I mean, Alonso got thrown out at second in the first inning of that game. So after hitting a ball that missed by inches. So whatever. And then he steals the bag, and he's been stealing a lot of bags too. He's not running ground balls out to first, and he's hitting the ball on the ground a lot. So that I have a problem with, but everything else I don't. I actually believe he's been running the bases decently well as a Met, especially when he does get on base and scores. He scores from first on doubles a lot. He gets good leads. So it's a mixed bag because there's on some hands he's not hustling, like the Yankee instance, and then there's I thought I hit a home run. I thought I crushed that like everybody else did, and I'm on first, but he steals second.
And we've Gabe in the comments. I think Gabe's spot on here. The amount of people calling this contract a bust, saying the Mets got taken to the woodshed, saying that the Mets gave a terrible deal here. It's just way too early. I think it's wrong objectively to say that. And we are literally in month 2, because I don't even count March. We're in month 2 of a 15-year contract for one of the best generational hitters of our lifetimes.
My opinion on him as a player hasn't changed. And let me go with this. Let's say he's miserable right now because he doesn't feel right at the plate. And in a month from now, he's going and he's the old Juan Soto. We all forget about this.
Yep.
It better be because, and I do think, and I don't know what you think, but I do believe that it's because he's struggling. It's because he doesn't feel right at the plate, and he hasn't all season long. That's why I don't think we see the confidence. That's why I don't think we see the shuffle. That's why I don't think we see the smiles all the time. I think it's that, to be completely honest with you. But if it's not, then you have a problem. Because if he starts mashing, and he is still moping around the field, then it's like, what the F? What is going on?
It is weird that you don't get the shuffle. It's weird. Did you see the Judge Lindor side-by-side video of the celebrations after home runs?
Yeah, I've seen it all.
Yeah, and it's him and Judge are doing the 15, 20-second handshake with the biggest smiles, and they're both April and May home runs. And then there's the Lindor grand slam that Soto literally just high-fives him and doesn't even smile at him. And it's just...
Well, here in New York, we don't celebrate April and May home runs like you guys did. I know those are big for you
Soto
guys.
celebrated them last year.
I know those are big for you guys. Lindor had
Huge
to sit him down and say, listen, that's little brother activity.
No.
Big brother activity is high five, go back to the dugout, you did your job.
Big Brother's the mecca of baseball all year, and we're excited all year. Every game is our World Series, so that when we get to the World Series, it's just like every other game.
I didn't get to congratulate you on your World Series win this past
Thank you.
weekend
It's
either.
our second World Series of the year. After sweeping the Brewers in the first weekend of the year, and now we have
from the Mets.
Subway Series. Hey, Subway Series. Mets win Subway Series. It's big news. It's big news. Mets win Subway Series too.
Well, when we win it, we sweep it. So like last year.
Oh yeah. Well, sorry, no more 2-game sets going on. Fugazi sweep. No, not a real
sweep. The season series. Okay, fine. We beat you 4 times.
Those don't count. JD Davis played in one of those, so
JD Martinez played in most of them.
Really, he's borderline Hall of Famer. Great career, great hitter.
Yeah, not last year.
Well, still, not JD Davis, definitely not last year. All right, I have a couple points on Soto. At bats versus Boston yesterday versus Crochet. What the hell was this?
Looks like he was protesting. Looks like he was like.
Do you? Because I've seen Mets fans doing this whole gets moved down in the lineup 1 spot to 3.
Please.
And we'll get to Marte in a minute, but moves down 1 spot in the lineup to 3, and now he's protesting on not swinging. I don't know if that's necessarily what happened. I think for the last 2 or 3 weeks I've been watching him, even before the Subway Series, it feels like he's looking for walks a lot.
Yeah, and that was a criticism of him last season, especially in big spots. I mean, they're pitching him to his defense on his play. They're pitching him like I don't think he's been pitched in a very long time. Frankly.
Yeah, because Alonso, as great as he is, he's starting to slow down, obviously. But when Alonso's hitting behind him, and you saw in the Yankee series, they did not care to put Soto on base with no one else.
No. And they don't. And these guys are making their best pitches against him. They just are. I mean, you saw it, with Fried. Those are in that second or third at bat, where his knees buckled. Those are nasty, nasty pitches. I mean, these guys every single night, they are giving him their best, and they are not going to let that guy beat them in any big spot, in any spot throughout the game. And he is not used to that because he had Judge last season and. Tatis, I don't even think he played with Tatis in 23. I think Tatis
but he had Machado. He's sitting in front of Machado.
But Machado was great that year. So there are guys, and I'm not saying there aren't guys in this Mets lineup. There are, but you're right. Alonso is struggling a little bit now, and Lindor is finally starting to break out of a little bit of a slump here for the last week. So these guys need to get going again because it's only going to help Juan.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Do I have any more Soto points here to be made? I don't think so. One more, and kind of 2 more, but really 1 more. Is it possible at all? I know that some of the reports have been fake. I know that the private jet thing,
crazy. Who was that? Was that Ravitch or Boomer?
I was going to ask you, where did that come from? Because Boomer was talking about it because he saw it. So somebody else, he was not the source of that.
It might have been Carl Ravitch that said it on the broadcast. I wasn't listening to the broadcast. I muted ESPN actually that night. I couldn't do it.
I'm gonna look right now, but while I look, I want to ask you: is it at all possible that Steve Cohen, who, listen, he's done a phenomenal job. I'm not really here to rip Cohen about Soto's recent play, behavior, articles about him.
On the court last night, too, Knicks game.
On the court last night, Knicks game, terrible Knicks game. Is it possible that Cohen is catering too much to Soto in this entire offseason up to now? Because I said this is why I wouldn't give a player a suite at the time. And I was not being petty or anything or coping. I genuinely would not want to offer a player a suite when, I have other great players on my team. This was just the start of it, though, for me. Now I'm sitting here saying maybe Cohen gave him too much and too fast, while guys like Alonso and Lindor, Lindor's gotten a lot from the Mets and Cohen, and he loves Cohen. But while Alonso, maybe hasn't gotten that treatment, Soto's getting so much right away.
I don't think so. I think he has a lot of great relationships with a lot of players on this team, the big guys. He's very close with Lindor. He's very close with Nimmo. So that doesn't worry me too much. I think Cohen's pissed. That's the one thing I'll say. I think Cohen is deep down, because he can act like this at times. He can't say it publicly, but privately he can act however he wants. He's pissed. I don't think he is happy at all with what he has gotten from Juan Soto and the way it looks. That part I don't necessarily in that article not believe, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he got it directly from the Mets. I just think Cohen's a fan, and I think Cohen saw Juan Soto do all of these things throughout his career, and now all of a sudden he looks like this miserable baseball player. I'd be pissed too if I gave that guy $765 million.
That's a good point. Right now, I don't see who sourced the private jet thing, but Boomer and Gio spoke about it in the morning on Monday, but I don't think they were the source, because I felt like that was a thing before Monday's show.
I don't remember hearing about it at all. I mean, I knew it wasn't true.
Yeah, that was a reach at first. That was because we would have heard about that earlier if that was a thing. I don't know. So either way, that's it for the Soto stuff. Good first 20 minutes talking about that. Now let's get into Mets games, and it kind of like a segue into Soto, but maybe it's recency bias. You have to tell me, do the Mets not feel, out of all the teams with like 28 to 30 plus wins, out of those top 7-8 teams in the league, do they not right now feel like the least energetic? Is there not an energy missing that they had last year?
So out of Detroit, Yankees, Phillies, Cubs, Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Mariners, Tigers, do they feel like the least energetic?
Right now, they feel like the most stale would be the word. You disagree?
No, I disagree. They're not playing well. They're not playing
I think
well.
it's recency bias is why I asked you.
They're certainly not playing well, but no, this team, I still trust them over Seattle.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though. That's not what I'm saying. I think they're the second or third best team in the league.
Okay.
But is there just an energy missing and an excitement missing from a team this good that maybe the rest of the squad, like I feel like the Yankees have this a lot of years, where their team's really good, but the energy is just not there at all, and you just want more as a fan. I feel like the Mets, the top guys, Lindor, Alonso, Soto, the top guys have not given you, and it's only May, it could come with the second half of the season, that real exciting juice that the Mets had more than anybody last year.
No, it's a complete recency bias.
Yeah,
it's a week and a half, 2 weeks of these guys not really playing well. I mean, they were never hitting with guys in scoring position, but I mean, that has really come to light.
That's where we have to go next. So we can just go right. Run.
I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. It's Brett Beatty last night saving the day twice. Yeah. I mean, Brett Beatty is the guy, is the man, and I got made fun of on this show.
He's got a 690 OPS still.
He is the man.
Let's pump the brakes still on Beatty's arrival.
He's here. He's the man. And by the way, unbelievable defender at third base. If Mark Vientos plays third base one more time this year, we got problems. It's Brett freaking Beatty, okay? I've officially closed the book on Mark Vientos being the future third baseman. He's not. He's either a first baseman or DH that said he cannot play third base in this league. When I get to watch Brett Beatty put on a glove and a hat and step out there on that field and watch that guy defend his position, there's nothing like it. Nothing.
Wow.
And I never want to see Mark
like
Vientos out there again, ever.
I wanted to bring it up. I talked about it on Monday. I did an episode of The Bunker, just talking a little Subway series because we weren't going to do Burrows until today. But the corner infield in that Yankee series, because Alonso, what is going on at first base this week, man? The throw on Sunday, the flip on Monday, disaster week for Alonso at first base. The corner infield in that Subway series with Vientos and Alonso literally could have been the worst corner infield I've ever seen rolled out, or at least the worst since last year's Yankees corner infields with Rizzo and insert third baseman.
Yeah, I mean, Alonso's got a problem throwing the ball. He's got the yips. This is a crazy comment from JM here. I mean, I don't agree with this. I mean, he's not that bad.
This is my guy too, Vientos. I can't even defend him at this point.
You could defend that he's not going to be in AAA in 2 months. I mean, that is
good either.
That's not happening. I don't think he's a bad offensive player. I think his numbers look better the past couple of weeks here, but yeah, that was bad. Alonso, I was at a bar in Boston after the second game, and this guy come up to me, and I'm pretty drunk at this point, and he comes up to me. He's from Milwaukee, and so he's talking crap to me. I'm like, we ended your lives last year. I'm like, what are you? He's in Red Sox here. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, yeah, but Alonso can't throw the ball to first. And I was like, Alonso with the biggest home run in the history of the franchise against your team last year. We ended up having a good conversation, and I was like, yeah, Alonso can't throw. It's disgusting.
Not the guy that should be speaking.
No, not talking crap to Alonso. He definitely shouldn't be doing that.
I'm trying to find team averages of runners in scoring position. Why can I not find it on Fangraphs or Baseball Reference? Because I don't think the Yankees are good with runners in scoring position either this year.
Let's see if I can find it. They're not. I know that.
I think they're worse than the Mets average was.
No, that's impossible.
No, I think they are.
That's impossible.
So I was looking at it the other day. But the Marte experience has to end also with the Mets. I mean, it's just time to put the old dog down type of feeling. But then
That's not nice.
Tie it back to the Soto thing. I'm a big Marte guy in his career. Love his game. But tie it back to the Soto thing. An article I do believe is true, and a report I do believe is true, is that Marte's been kind of the leader in trying to get him acclimated and get him comfortable with the Mets. And obviously they have a history together of friendship, and he was one of the guys that Soto was excited to come play with. I don't think you can get rid of Marte for that sole reason. I think Marte has to stay on the roster for Soto the whole year.
I mean, unfortunately, I think it's true. Mets are hitting 215 with runners in scoring position, and the Yankees are hitting. They moved up this list, Kevin. 261. They're in 10th.
They were one of the best in the league then.
The 10th.
Let's go.
Yeah, I got it. I found it.
Mike, great job, man.
Here we go. MLB app. Yeah, it's what did we just say? Marte. I did read the article, and I don't disagree with it. He's not doing a great job right now, obviously, but he with the Soto stuff and on the field. On the field, I mean, we don't have to talk about that. He is awful. Awful. I mean, and then I'm okay with moving Soto down to 3 and Alonso to 4. I'm perfectly okay with that. But when you put Marte 2, I mean, what is going? I'd rather Brett Beatty hit 2.
This is one of those days where you do realize Mendoza learned from Boone.
Yeah. How about the punt lineup? You texted me the punt lineup against the Pirates. The worst baseball game I think I've ever been to in my life. It's pouring rain. They're playing the Pirates, and they got a punt lineup. At least I had free food that night.
Let's see if the Yankees punted today. Yeah, Yankees punted today, but they still have a good top 5. So, but the bottom 3 is Escara, Vivas, Peraza.
Yeah, that's a punt.
Yeah, but the top 5 is best in baseball. Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Dominguez. Come on. Volpe,
Nope.
6? Come on.
No, Volpe, no, definitely.
How bad was Volpe on Sunday?
Oh,
man. And
God.
oh my God, you're so lucky Bellinger bailed you out because Volpe, what did he leave? 8 men stranded, 2 of the worst bases loaded at bats. One, you swing first pitch. And then the second one, Brazaban is literally offering you first base, and you swing at 3 balls and strike out
After 3-0.
After 3-0. And what did he throw between Grisham and then Judge and then Volpe, whatever the order was? What did he throw, like 11 straight balls?
It was bad. It was really bad. I'm like, wow, this is the first bad Brazaban outing. Call him Brazabrain, actually. I mean, it's crazy.
I like him too. He's a good pitcher.
He's great. He was great again last night.
Thank God for Bellinger. He's just been on fire. We'll talk about him in a little bit. What else with the Mets here that we have? Any worry with the Phillies right now? Obviously, I think there's some. You can't say you're comfortable, but
no, I think the Phillies, I've been saying it for 2 weeks now, when they really started to play well, they're very good. I mean, they are, I think they're the second or third best team in the entire league. So, it's that's another crazy comment. I really do worry about them 100%. And
I think Eric Adams has way bigger things to worry about than Brett Beatty Day.
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Really? Wow. You would love it though.
Oh, I would celebrate this day. Yeah, 100%. That's a great comment. That's a great. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I'm like, where's 7 and 22 coming from? It's 7's new number. Old number 22.
Wow.
Definitely not anybody
that
important.
Was really tough for you to figure out.
Really not anybody important right now wearing 22 for the Mets. So,
No, Ben Rice, best 22 in New York.
That's not true. Come on.
Who would have seen that coming? My God.
I would have.
That's Mets luck.
Brett Beatty. That's the best former 22 in the league.
No.
Yeah.
No. Dom Smith.
That's what my buddy. He's wearing a Dom Smith jersey to Boston.
Dom Smith Mets
jersey. Yeah.
Because socks probably. There's probably somebody with
Dom
Smith socks.
And then there's this loser Red Sox fan walking in with number 2 Bregman, and he starts making fun of us like Dom Smith jersey. I'm like, you're wearing a Dom Smith jersey right now. I'm like, that's not Bregman, that's Dom Smith. They retired that for Dom Smith. They just started dying. I was like, yeah.
What?
Yeah. They don't have the name on the back.
How about the Red Sox getting to 500 again and then dropping it? They can't get over 500.
They stink. Okay, let me tell you that. They stink. The fact that this team lost 2 games to them, they stink.
And we did, since our last show, Hyde got fired, I think right after we did the show on Friday.
Yeah.
Baltimore, am I just the greatest or what?
That's the greatest prediction of all time.
I got laughed at. My co-host laughed at me.
I did not laugh at you. I did not laugh. I just said it was ballsy.
I got threats. I got threats on TikTok about that. At what point is it appropriate for me to go back to that comment section and just light up all the Orioles?
Right now? Literally right now.
Because they're 16 and 32. I do not see them ever coming out of last place.
They're not coming out of last place in this division. Tampa's not going to fall that bad.
Tampa, Boston, and Toronto are all
they're 500 teams.
Yeah. Which was my prediction. That was exactly what I said. Was those teams would be 500 teams. Yankees would be the only team significantly over. And Baltimore is going to be significantly under. They suck.
They clearly do suck.
Terrible. I know the sport, man.
How about the A's dropping out too? That's not nice.
Yeah, tough.
They got cold there.
That's tough. Anything else on the Mets here? Second base, Acuna, McNeil.
Yeah, McNeil has to play every day.
Yeah, that's easy. Acuna got to be used as a pinch runner and an extra.
Yep.
Every third day guy.
He's not a big part. He's not.
No, and you can't expect him to be his brother. No. That's just
it's never gonna happen.
No. So Acuna, I mean, great pinch runner. I don't know. Is he a great defensive player? I don't even know.
He's a solid defensive player.
Okay.
You bring him in late in games, 100%.
Yeah, so a good late game guy, good every third day guy. He could play a couple different positions. But Acuna, let's pump the hype. Right after we did that show last week, and we had comments about how overrated Acuna is, and you said something I agree with. No player in baseball is more overrated by their fan base than Acuna. And I was having a text with my boy Gardecki, who watches every Mets game, and he was like, he said that he hopes they trade. I forget what the exact conversation was, but I said they have a couple trade pieces, and one of them I mentioned was Acuna. Like, I think they get rid of one of those guys for an arm, or I don't even know what it was, or a DH. You get rid of one of those younger guys. Acuna was one of the guys that listened. He's like, no way, Acuna's going to be a Rookie of the Year guy.
No.
Come on. Gardeck's good Met fan, though. So
good Met fan.
Not rip him for that.
Not a Rookie of the Year guy. Also, I'll leave the Mets on this note. And we're all over this.
Yeah.
Francisco Alvarez hasn't improved in 2 years. He hasn't improved one. And I saw this tweet, and I don't know who I'm stealing it from, and I'm sorry. I saw it on Mets Twitter, but it's very true. Guy hasn't improved in 2 years.
Yeah, and the Mets right now, I mean, talk about their offense. They have 3 guys over 700 OPS.
Yeah, that's not what you want.
That's really bad. This is a serious problem.
Yeah.
And that's not counting McNeil, who is right now, but
McNeil's great.
Not a qualified hitter. McNeil's having a really nice year.
The Yankees could use McNeil.
No, they couldn't. They have DJ.
Right. Sorry.
How about DJ's return?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, Yanks.
He's ripping. He's slugging right now. He's got 389 slug.
He's the man. He's the man.
He's actually hitting the ball hard, though, which is a huge surprise. But, I mean, DJ returned. All right, that's all we're going to talk about with the DJ return. So, Dominguez last night, electric factory, saves New York. King of New York now is Jason Dominguez. Brunson.
Never seen it. I think that's the worst hung off-speed pitch I've ever seen in my entire life.
He gets the 2-0 count, and I'm watching it, and I'm saying, you got to give him the green light, right? Because Yankees haven't hit a walk-off home run in like 3 years. And just give him the green light. Let the kid rip from the left side. He's a really good hitter from the left side.
Yeah.
And
I'll look at the splits now.
He got all that. Yeah, pull up the splits. I was going to ask you that. Pull up the splits. I think righty splits are still pretty bad, but he's hitting like 340 lefty. So, I mean, you're hitting left-handed most of the time. He's a guy I want playing every day. He's a future piece. And I like him in the 5 spot. Walks it off last night. Second deck bomb. Just a beautiful finish to that game. And then the Yankees all around. I mean, you feel good about the team. This has been the best 10, 15-day feel for the Yankees all year long, where they really have some juice going for them right now. Going for a sweep today in their 30th win of the season, gaining, I think they have the biggest division lead in baseball. Let me double check that. Yeah,
second
5-game lead right now.
Second biggest.
Tigers over the Twins. Okay.
5.5. Tigers freaking rolling. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. And the Dodgers too, man. We'll talk about the Dodgers maybe at the end, but their offense. If you look at their offensive numbers 3 weeks ago versus now, I don't know what happened, but they must be facing batting practice because Freeman, Ohtani, Betts, everybody is shooting up in every category.
Ohtani was the most shocking to me because I had looked probably 2 weeks prior to when I did. And I'm like, oh, Ohtani's having like a very, for Ohtani average year. And now all of a sudden he's tied with Judge for the most home runs in the league. So he completely shot up. And Freeman's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's unbelievable. Dominguez splits quick. He's actually improved from the right side.
What do we got?
He's hitting 109 with a 472 OPS. And from the left side, he's hitting 308 with a 929 OPS. So he's an all-star from the left side.
Yeah. At what point does it's not going to be in the season, but at what point does he just say, I got to hit lefty?
Yeah, probably during the off season.
Yeah, because you know what? Right now, you don't need him to hit against left-handed pitching. You'd like him to because Grisham's not a great hitter against lefties. He's slowing down.
Yeah.
But Bellinger and Judge should be playing every day in the outfield. Bellinger's been terrific.
Bellinger's been unbelievable.
This tear since April 20th has just been – he's been the best player on the team. He's been better than Judge in that stretch. He's unbelievable.
Big 420 guy. We know that. Huge stretch. Look at the numbers here quick. Yep. Yeah, his OPS it was 600 at one point, and now it's 806. He's been great. He hits the big grand slam against the Mets. Obviously, hit a homer last night, 2 nights ago as well. He's killing it.
Yep. Pumped about it. Really excited about it.
And this is the guy you thought you were getting where he was going to make a legitimate impact. He's great defensively, you know that, and now you're getting a legit offensive player. I got to ask this question to you because I'd seen this discourse, obviously, after the Yankees beat the Mets in a series where the guys that they acquired to replace Juan Soto all shined. Mm-hmm. So it's Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Williams, Fried, right? Those guys there. That's essentially the replacements to Soto. Do you think the Yankees are better off?
No. I think maybe for the first time, I think it's possible. I'm not there yet, but I think it's possible they're better off in 2025. but there's a long-term projection here that is very tough to sustain versus what you would have had with Soto. And the thing I loved about Soto's age was you were, in theory, getting a superstar hitter in his prime when Judge is done. So you were passing the torch with that contract. Now, I don't think Dominguez would become that guy. Volpe's not going to become that guy. So where do you supplement the star after Judge?
Right, you got to develop that guy or sign that guy.
Yeah.
And
that's why I like Soto. Unless you're going to sign Kyle Tucker this offseason, which I doubt.
They're not going to sign Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, that's why I loved the idea of Soto long-term versus these guys. Because, I love Goldschmidt. You know that. Everybody that knows me knows I love Goldschmidt. I don't want him on the team next year.
Yeah. No, that'd probably be bad for business as good as he's been.
But Fried has been the guy in this. I thought Goldschmidt was going to be good. I thought Bellinger was going to be good. Fried's been the guy in this that I thought was going to be good, and he's been the best pitcher in baseball. And that has made a huge difference because when he pitches, I am fully confident from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I go to sleep at night that the Yankees were winning a game that day.
Wow, that's a lot of confidence.
That's where I'm at with Fried. Sunday, there was no doubt in my mind the Yankees were winning that series against the Mets. When he pitches, there's no doubt in my mind that he's winning.
That's a lot of confidence in a guy.
And he's been that great, though.
I don't think they're better off this season, obviously, for the future. I still think they would have been a better team with Soto on this squad.
And it's easier to say right now because Soto's having probably the worst stretch he'll have in the next few years. This is why it's easy to say because the Yankees are having Bellinger at his peak right now. Goldschmidt's peaking. Fried's just absolutely dominant. Devin Williams is having a really nice last 10 days, 2 weeks. And Soto is not. So that's why it's really easy right now to throw that idea out there that the Yankees are better off.
Goldschmidt is hitting .339.
Yeah, Goldschmidt's been
second best on the team.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
Judge still hitting .400. It's good.
Yeah, and it's like he's slowing down, and then you look at his numbers, and they don't get lower than where they are right now. It's ridiculous.
It's incredible. No, it's incredible. But Volpe, we brought it up the other day. I don't know what, if I was a Yankees fan, I don't know how I would feel about Volpe. Like, I don't know how I would. I think I would be on the side of that he's a bust and that he's not a bust, but
disappointed.
I'm underwhelmed. I'm certainly underwhelmed. That I think if I was a Yankees fan, that's how I would feel because I feel that way about a big prospect that the Mets have that is at times pretty decent defensively and, a young guy and still coming into his own, not an awful offensive player, but certainly not a really good one.
Yeah, what's funny about Alvarez and Volpe is you cannot knock either with the fan bases. Majority of the fan base will not let you slander either player or criticize either player.
Which is a problem.
And neither of them are nearly what they were supposed to be. Volpe, I know it's unfair to compare him to the best shortstops in the league, but he was supposed to be. And people will tell me his OPS ranks top 10 in shortstops. This ranks top 10 in shortstops. He's a great defensive player. But if we're all being really honest with ourselves, is Volpe truly a game-changing player for the New York Yankees that they could not find in most other routes they could have went at shortstop? That's the problem I have with Volpe and the defense of him. He is not the game changer that the Yankees relied on him to be, and he unfortunately had a lot of pressure on him placed by the Yankees organization, but he has not become that player yet, and I don't think he ever will be. And JM says it, and he's right. Volpe's better than Alvarez. Two different positions. Context matters, I think, with that, but he is better than Alvarez.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not.
I just don't think either of them are great or even close.
I think. Okay, I'll give you this. He comes up bases loaded the other day, right? Against the Mets. I was not worried when he came up to the plate. It was literally good Volpe's up. Like, that's how I felt. I was not intimidated by the fact that Anthony Volpe was coming up to the plate.
No, he's not, because he's not
he's not that player.
He's not that guy. He's a good player, especially when you look at the state of shortstops around the league. He's good, but he's not a guy that I'm glad we passed up every top shortstop in the league for.
No. Or whatever you could have got from him in a trade, which would have been a lot.
If they could have gotten, I know he's not having a great year, but, Luis Castillo was a guy that I know fan base was kind of split on at the time with that trade. Do I reverse that trade, go back and do it right now? I don't know. I would have rather just given up Peraza at the time. That's how I always felt about it. But Volpe could have gotten you a lot in a trade, and you could have gotten a really good shortstop to supplement the position, and they didn't. And that's where we're at with Volpe.
Trade your young guys. If you have it, trade it. Because a lot of the times they do not turn in and pan out to these superstar players. They just don't. They're lottery tickets. They're lottery tickets. And the Yankees have had this issue for years now, where they didn't trade enough of their big-time prospects for other players. And they hoarded them, and they didn't come up and make an impact because there were too many guys at too many positions.
Yeah, he's striking out more than once a game right now, Volpe. The Sunday game, his Sunday performance overall was just egregiously bad.
Yep. No, that put it over the edge for a lot of people.
Yeah, Volpe, it's just year 3. If we want to talk about lack of improvement, this has been his most promising year so far. It seems like he's the most put together player he's been.
100%.
But still, that's a low bar. He was bad the last 2 years. I know he had a nice little playoff run last season, but you look at the year, besides the hitting streak in May, he was really bad.
No, these offensive numbers are very poor. Very, very poor.
He was one of the worst offensive shortstops in baseball in the last 2 years.
I mean, he has a little pop, but
in year 1, especially, he had a little pop.
He had a 661 OPS. I mean, he doesn't get on base. He wasn't hitting for average. He still doesn't hit for average, and he still barely gets on base.
I like this Gabe comment because I'm still waiting, too. The Yankees have hoarded young players in times that they should have been traded more than anyone else, and it just has not worked for Cashman. And I get at the time you don't get the deals you want sometimes, and you're afraid to get rid of the young player, but, man, they had so many guys that they could have moved, and they never did in World Series windows.
That's the one issue that I think every fan, even if you could defend Brian Cashman, could say about him.
Yeah, absolutely. How about
Cash?
Speaking of young players, Cash having a great week. Can we also just come back to the Soto thing for a second? And was this weekend not the perfect storm for the entire Soto discourse of the offseason? They played it pretty early in the year for a Subway Series. The Yankees come out. Not only does Soto struggle, and all these articles come out, which was inevitable on the week he returned to the Bronx, but the guys that they replaced him with basically beat the Mets this weekend. It wasn't Judge. It wasn't Rice. It was Goldschmidt, Bellinger, Fried, and Cashman after this weekend just looked like a genius. Meanwhile, the Mets looked like fools in the media, even though that's just not what's true. But the impact that this weekend had because of the way it unraveled was more than I had imagined.
And that's what kind of pissed me off because, I said this before to you, when I mentioned this, I'm like, I still don't think they're better off this season. I thought they would be better off with Soto, but it's tough to defend after the weekend that these players all had.
Yep, it is. And, maybe there's a universe out there where the Mets went out and said, we don't want Soto. We want Max Fried, Cody Bellinger, and we're going to get Alonso.
We wouldn't have wanted that.
And you have Bellinger out in center, raking right now. You have the best pitcher in baseball, not Griffin Canning. You have the best pitcher in baseball. And that's so good. It's just, it's May, and I don't expect all 3 of the guys in the Yankees or all 4 of the guys in the Yankees, you include Williams, I don't expect them all to be these players come October. Someone's going to slide a little bit, I think, but maybe not. If they keep up at this rate, if Bellinger continues to have a really good year, Goldschmidt continues to have this crazy renaissance year, Fried is a Cy Young top 3, and Williams is pitching the way he's pitched his last 4 or 5 outings, then I think the Yankees are better off in 2025. But that's a lot of ifs. That's 4 guys that are big ifs.
And the Mets just need one Hall of Fame player to just freaking turn it on a little bit, and there you go.
Exactly. That's what it is. Will Warren. I want to touch on Will Warren for a second.
Sure.
Who starting to look good, Warren. And I've been saying, stay the course with Warren. He's got good stuff, but he hasn't totally put it together yet. And now you look at what he's been able to do and a really good start this week. He's starting to figure it out right now. And in that game against Texas, he gives up nothing in 5 2/3. The game against Seattle, shutout. Or I'm sorry, two runs in 5 innings. And then he gets the win in the game before that. 7 1/3 innings pitched at Sacramento, and he gives up 1 run. So the last 3 outings that he's had, he has been absolute nails for the Yankees.
He's been really good. I was looking at this stat the other day. It was all these analytical stats about how these guys are very unlucky, and it was the top 10 young pitchers in the game that are the most unlucky right now, and it was like rookies or second-year guys, and Warren was on that list, like 7 or 8, saying that he's been unlucky. His stuff is good. So the Yankees saw something in him, obviously. They needed an extra arm, and then they kept him in there when they could have dropped him out. He's looked really good. It's a great decision, and listen, if he could pan into something, I mean, we haven't been talking about the Yankee rotation a lot the last week or so, and I think it's because Warren has now stepped in and become that 3rd or 4th guy in this rotation, and Schmidt has looked a little better as well.
As has Rodon. So their top 4.
Oh, Rodon, we knew Rodon.
Yeah, and then Yarbrough, right? I mean, we'll see. I think Stroman's on the horizon. Yikes. But
no,
Yarbrough has been a fairly good 5th guy.
Well, I mean, they skipped him.
They skipped him for the World Series.
They skipped him for the World Series.
World Series Game 7. They
not clearly don't value him that much if they're skipping him there on that. So no, yeah, that's fine. I would rather Yarbrough than freaking Stroman. It was a mess.
Yeah, Stroman I think is going to be back though,
and he'll soon. Maybe 2 months, maybe a month, maybe 2.
I think it's going to be more. I don't think we see him until after the All-Star break.
Okay,
right now,
that's fine.
Their projection's always been mid-June, but I think they end up letting them just ride it out till after the All-Star break because you thought in April they were going to need him as soon as possible.
Yeah, now it's like
that's not the case. Fernando Cruz is going to the IL. They pulled up Hedrick for him. He's got. I think it sounds he's going to throw today, so it sounds like just maybe a literal 10-day thing. His MRIs were all clean, but that could be a big loss for the Yankees for a week or 2. He's been very good.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. I think it's good time for New York baseball still. I think that Mets fans on the Soto situation, it's frustrating right now because even before this all blew up, we did have the conversation about why is this Mets record not more exciting, and it is because Soto hasn't been Soto yet. But I think it's going to come around. I think that we are sitting here playoff time or maybe even All-Star break and saying – that was all a bunch of nothing.
Let's hope we get there because if we don't, we're going to have issues.
It's going to be a long year, even if their record's good, if this keeps up.
Yeah.
If he's around 800 OPS all year and not showing signs of happiness, it's going to be a very long year of this first of 15.
Look at the Dodgers baseball reference page. They've used so many players this year.
Yeah, they have.
Insane.
They have some pitching injury problems.
Yeah, I mean they've used 27 different pitchers.
Yep.
I mean, a couple of those guys are position players, Kike Hernandez and Miguel Rojas. But like, are we serious? And they've used
a lot of guys,
19 hitters, one of them being a pitcher, but it's 18 guys.
Yeah. Wow, I'm looking at it now too.
Freddie Freeman, it doesn't get talked about enough. I think he's gone to LA and kind of been a little forgotten about.
He's been in the shadow of he's the 3rd best player on the team. Yeah.
He's the 3rd best player on the team. Like the guy is unreal. Like
he's so great. He's one of my favorite players ever.
I know. And it doesn't make any sense that it's not talked about enough because this guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I think the only questions we're going to have now is whether or not he goes in as a Brave or a Dodger.
That's an interesting one, too.
Wins a couple of more here.
He's a California guy, grew up a Dodgers fan, didn't want to leave the Braves. That whole weird saga with the agent happened. And then
he's in his 4th season. He played 12 years there. Let's say he plays 7 years here, and he is just unreal all those 7 years, and he wins another World Series or 2. You don't think he's at least considering it after they just kicked him out the door?
Because his best year of his career is obviously the MVP season, but it was 2020, so it was a 60-gamer. And
I don't count that.
You look at the rest of the best years of his career, there's an argument as to whether or not his best seasons are in LA or Atlanta.
Yeah, in 1 year, 17, he would have been on pace for an MVP.
Yep. 23, he was great with the Dodgers.
Right. 18.
23, I mean, he's got 102 RBIs in 23. He's one of the best players in the league. He had 121 and 19 with Atlanta, RBIs, 38 homers.
Was he just terrible defensively in 2019? Oh, that's the weird year with all the offensive players. His WAR's low. You ever just think about that sometimes, how weird that 2019 year was? Like how legit the balls were juiced. Like how they were legit.
What did Brett Gardner hit 26 home runs?
Right. Jeff McNeil hit 20-something home runs. Like, and some of those totals
who led the league
some guys hit. Alonso, no, 53.
That was 18.
No,
Either way, I think they were juiced both seasons. But
that was 19.
Okay.
Because I went back and watched a couple of games. Like I was home one night before the Mets were playing a late game, and I was home and I was just relaxing, and they were playing the 2019 yearbook on SMY. So I'm like, oh, this is a fun year. Let's see all these comebacks. And it was just homer after homer after homer, and they're just getting out, and like these fly balls that are a few feet in front of the warning track this season are homers that year. It's fantastic. Somebody's got to write a book on that.
Gleyber Torres hit the 38 home runs. Yeah, 7 of them were at Camden Yards.
That's fake there.
Max Kepler had that 36 home run season.
Exactly.
Yeah. My God. Jock Peterson hit 36. How about Jock Peterson this year? He's the worst hitter in the league.
Yeah, I saw that. Jorge Polanco hit 22 that year.
Bellinger,
and Rosario, 32.
That's a crazy year. Did Yelich win MVP this year?
Yelich. No, that was the Bellinger.
Okay, yeah.
Bellinger won it.
Alonso had a case here when you look back at the numbers. Bellinger was the better guy, but Alonso
was I don't know. He was great, but Rendon, Yelich, and Bellinger.
It didn't feel like it at the time, though.
No.
They never felt like Alonso was an MVP guy. So,
but why is Freeman's WAR so low?
I don't know. WAR. I still am skeptical of WAR. I think most of the time, for especially career arcs, it tells you a pretty good story about where the guy ranks all time, how his career actually played out, how impactful he was. But WAR, I'm still I think it's a little sketchy.
There's this guy that was on this list here of the MVP in 2019, and he was 20 at the time, and he was 9th.
Yeah, now I heard now he leads a miserable life.
That guy must be unbelievable right now.
I heard now he's terrible.
Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, I gotta have a little fun with it.
I heard now his life sucks.
His life or his wife? I didn't know he's married. He's not married.
His life sucks.
Kevin Pillar hit 21 home runs that year too. All right, enough of that. I need to get off of that.
Charlie Blackmon, 940 OPS that year.
Yep, there we go.
Home runs.
Michael Conforto hit like 30 that year.
Yohan Moncada had a great year. God.
Yeah.
That was the year that Moncada, we thought he was going to be the guy. Yeah, so, good year in 2019 for home run hitters. Very nice year.
Not really.
For home run hitters. For home
run hitters, yeah. For pitchers, no.
Pitchers, awful year. I remember Tanaka that year, the second or third start of the season, was saying the balls were juiced at his postgame press conference because he was like, I've thrown a couple of those pitches for strikeouts my entire career or for groundouts, and they're going 18 rows deep. He's like, there's no way that pitch got taken out.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's
tough.
Yeah. Anything else, Michael Merlo, today?
I am good. I'm good. Big homer for your guy Jason. We brought that up before. You know,
Yeah, excited about the Yankees.
big
Definitely
weekend.
in a good mood for the Yankees.
Big weekend. The Dodgers are in town this weekend. So if you want to go
Yeah.
see some real baseball, two really good teams that, in the league, you head out to Citi Field this weekend, all right? That's what you
nobody's going to that. Nobody's going to Citi Field this week.
You go see Mets Dodgers. That's what you do, okay?
What's the feeling on the Mets if they lose the series? Like how is this, do we start? All right, let me do this one for you. Mets lose 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers.
Okay.
They also lose Monday against the White Sox.
Oh,
but they win the next 2, but we don't know that yet.
No, you're gonna
White Sox Monday.
That'd be a fun Burrows if you're around on Monday.
That would be really
fun Burrows.
All right, we'll see if it happens. We'll be back Monday or Tuesday and discuss. Mets currently in second place, right behind the Phillies. Yankees in first. So good vibes right now, besides the Soto thing. But who really cares? A lot of season left, right, Mike? We're gonna be good. Gonna be good. A lot of season left. All right, thanks for listening. Make sure to follow the Playbook on Instagram with Gabe. Make sure to follow BTO on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, make sure to check out Giuseppe's podcast, No Good Takes, coming every week. If you're a hockey fan, it's a must listen. And I'm doing the bunker every morning that we don't do the Burrows of these last 2 weeks, talking a lot of NBA, talking a lot about New York sports, and mainly the Knicks on that, which was a disaster last night. But we're taking a day off from the Knicks today.
Come on!
For no
you gotta jump
reason,
on there.
For no specific reason,
jump on there.
We're doing baseball today instead of the Knicks. So that's, just how it worked out. All right. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.